Hi, welcome back to Our Hollywood. I'm Kim.
And I'm Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's topic is actually really fun. Wait, first of all, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Me too. Well,
Wow. Oh,
no.
no.
I'm like overwhelmed with school, but I'm actually fine.
Good. Yeah. I mean, you're in the home stretch. So, yeah, let's not think too
Okay,
hard
okay,
about that part. But,
yeah.
like,
Also, I'm having a car graduation.
so am I.
So stupid.
I know I'm finally graduating.
It's fun
Technically.
though. Which
I guess, but I would, like, I just feel like if we're all walking 6 feet apart, we have our masks on, and we're walking across the stage, I just don't see
or
why
like
we
drive
couldn't
up
do
in the
that.
car and then you step out of
Yeah.
the car, walk, and then like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
because okay, so I didn't care. I was like, it doesn't matter because you could either do the car graduation or do an in-person one next year, like an actual walking one. But I was like, I won't care by then. Like I will already have moved on with my life. And then I was watching Modern
No.
Family. Yeah,
No, you
I was
won't.
watching Modern Family, and then Alex like graduated, and she like walked on the stage, and then I like got really depressed
Yeah, dude.
because I was
It's
like, so I only got to graduate one. Well, like I'm still graduating, but like I only got to do the stage thing once.
yeah.
That's
That's like
depressing.
kind of like a big moment. Like I remember getting rush of adrenaline when I did in high school. Even though I hated high school, like
But it's still like, oh, thank
it's still
God.
yeah, it's just like the relief.
Out of here.
It's like that's what makes it feel real, I think.
Uh-huh.
Because like I'm a year graduated. I'm like
But also you graduated right before the pandemic. So it's like you had
I graduated at the beginning of the
Oh,
pandemic.
yeah. So you had a year to think about your life.
I guess. I didn't really
Um,
do much with that year.
I mean, you kind of did.
Kind of. And like not the way I anticipated at all.
Right.
So
Well, so that's how we're doing.
it is what it is
Um,
at this point. I feel like at the beginning I was like super stressed about it, and I feel like everybody that's graduating this year will be like super stressed about it. But like, I think you'll just realize it's really not that deep.
I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, like I do want to walk across the stage, but like if I don't, like it's not the fucking end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, today's topic is hide. I almost said hide your sex. Well, hide your parents' sex on TV, which honestly, show your parents. But we'll get into
some of them.
Maybe don't watch it with your parents.
Yeah. But like use what you learn from these shows. Well, some of them you can watch with your family, I think. Like Jane the Virgin, I feel like you can watch with your family.
I would rather chew glass than watch Sex Education with my parents.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like my mom came home and it was like in the middle of a sex scene, and I was like, hold on.
No, because my brother was like, because he never watches Netflix, and so he was watching that show because like I guess his friend recommended to him, and my mom was like, oh, is that show good? And I was like, yeah, but don't watch it. And my mom was like, why not? I want to watch it. I was like, I don't even want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, just like watch it, but just don't tell us about it.
Exactly. But before we get into that, we're gonna do our quick little pop culture roundup and then what we watched this week. Okay, so first thing I have is the scary tattoo that Grimes got on her back.
Oh.
I want to know.
She's prepping to move to Mars.
She's Canadian. Like, what is going on? Like, why does she think she's an alien?
That's just her aesthetic, I guess. Like, that's literally like.
I'll be honest.
I don't know. Grimes confuses me as a person because I heard that she like came from wealth and she chose to be poor. And I just think.
And then she chose to marry Elon Musk, but then she's always like, I hate capitalism. I'm like, really?
That's why she confuses me. I don't get it.
I don't understand her.
I don't know too much about her, so.
The tattoo is fun. It's an interesting concept. Kind of scares me, but I
don't understand the concept. What's the concept?
It's like alien scars, like aliens attacked her or something, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't have much to say about that. It is
what it is.
Yeah, it's just like a little weird thing that happened.
I just saw it and I was like, Grimes girly, what are you doing?
Yeah, she has the money.
She does have the money. Oh, God. And the next one I have is Olivia Rodrigo announces her debut album.
Oh yeah, Sour.
I am very excited. Also, okay, so like I just started getting into like record collecting. And so like
such an expensive habit.
Yes. I love expensive habits though. And which is why I need a job like that will contribute to that. That's not the right sentence. Anyway, so I saw that she's releasing 3 different ones. And I'm like, why do they do that?
I sent that to you.
Oh, yeah. So there was like the blue Target one and like the pink one from her store.
The pink one's sick.
And then like this other one.
The pink one's Walmart, and then like the clear transparent one is the one.
I kind of like the one from her store.
Yeah, that one's cool. I like the pink one. I feel like you don't see a lot of hot pink. Like,
I have one. It's like the
really?
Wallows or something. I don't know why it was hot pink.
I don't know.
Anyway, what I was gonna say was that I am excited.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love her music. I'm really excited. I literally made a whole TikTok styling her because
I saw.
literally, like,
I hope she sees it because like I know that one.
I think it's really good. Honestly, I think it's one of my better ones that I've done.
Well, I like that series because I know
Yeah.
one of the other ones the person saw it, right? I don't remember who it
Emmy
was.
Hartman.
Yeah.
She's like a TikToker. I love her.
And so I was like, fun.
She literally saw it within like 10 minutes. I literally was like,
Oh my God.
I can't. What is going on? I was not mentally prepared for it.
I also saw the Brittany Broski one, and I really like that one.
I wish she saw that one. I think I'm really good at
Repost it.
styling other people.
Yes.
Like I mean, I'm good at styling myself too, but I like having other people's aesthetics to like go through.
Okay, speaking of that one shirt that you styled me in that video in, that I was like, this is too tight. It actually fits me now.
Good.
So
that's why I say keep things, because I
Yeah.
think sometimes it just takes a minute to like get comfortable in it. You know?
yes, I agree. Okay, and then the last thing was
Anyways, well, hold on.
Oh.
Olivia Rodrigo, please hire me on your creative team. Like literally any aspect, I would love that. It's literally just me begging people to hire me every episode. I don't care. I have literally zero shame. There's no ego. I have none.
As soon as I graduate, I'll start doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just right now I don't want anyone to hire me because my brain can't handle it. But as soon as I'm graduated,
we're both gonna just be begging and pleading.
Love that. And then the last thing was the Brockhampton video. Okay, so I don't know anything about Brockhampton. Like I tried to get into them because Kim was like obsessed with them. So I was like, okay, what's the hype?
Literally consumed 4 years of my life.
I know.
Your
life was shaped around them.
To the point where they literally will not leave my top artist spot on Spotify. They won't go away.
Do you even listen to them?
I think a little bit, but not too much. Like I think I've like gone out of my phase for over a year now, and they're still number one. And that's how much I listen to them. I was in the 0.01% of fans when that whole thing was happening.
God.
And I feel like a lot of their fans are very diehard, so I think that says a lot about that time of my life.
Okay, I think the reason I started to listen to them was because the main one is like gay. So I was like, oh, a gay like rapper. Mm-hmm. And they're also like a group. So I was like, fun. And I just could not get into it.
Yeah, it's really
They're fun workout songs.
True, yeah.
A lot of them are on my workout playlist. Okay, anyway, though, they came out with a new album. And like, okay, but also I manifested this on accident. Okay, so I gave a presentation in my class about like LGBTQ plus protest music. And so like one of the last ones we talked about, well, we talked a lot about Lil Nas X and like that whole thing. And so we were talking about that. And then I was wearing my Dominic Fike sweater while I was doing the presentation. And then the video came out. And I was like, so I think I did this in my head. So anyway, the video is like this like weird.
Their music videos are fucking odd. The Sugar music video, weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're just interesting
such a good time, though.
Creatives, I guess.
I think they just do a lot of heavy
drugs.
Yes. I was
probably.
Like,
I would not doubt that.
Because like I felt like I was on drugs watching that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say yeah, that's what it feels like to be on drugs.
Thank you.
Honestly, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I mean, like I've only done I've done one drug, and it's the legal one in California. So
okay.
I feel like it's a bit that I could see that being like what you would feel like on shrooms. But like to a certain extent, like when they're like intertwined and stuff, like I feel like I felt like that when I've been high. I don't know how to explain it. Okay. You just have to watch it, I guess.
Yes, please watch it. It was so fun.
Because you've never been high, right?
No.
Yeah, so.
Maybe I'll do it just to watch the video again.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that where I do that. Honestly, watching comedy movies while you're high is so much more entertaining.
Well, because everything's funny.
Yeah, exactly. It like opens your mind up to like
the jokes,
and you're just like you never caught on to that beforehand.
Or maybe it just isn't funny and you thought it was funny because you're high. Probably
that too. Okay. But I mean, it's just a better experience overall. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you have?
J-Lo and A-Rod broke up.
Did you see his Instagram stories?
Yeah, the day before they announced it too.
What is he doing?
Well, he fucked up. I mean, J-Lo is like one of the most beautiful women on this planet.
J-Lo was posting selfies. She could not
she
care.
said hot girl summer.
No, same energy as when Demi Lovato, like, she called up her engagement and she was like posting selfies, and then her boyfriend was like crying in Malibu and called TMZ. Yeah.
Quote unquote.
I was like, you look ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't really affect me.
Well, none of this affects me at all.
Yeah.
It's just fun to talk
about. But, like,
about.
I'm not, like, a huge fan of either person, so I'm just kind of, like, I mean, I think it's a big deal because, like, they were, like, kind of, like, the quote-unquote modern family. Like, they melting pot of, like, two sides of...
I thought they were going to stay together, honestly.
I thought so, too. Well, he cheated on her, so...
Oh, really? With who?
Yeah, with, like, a reality TV star.
Oh, my God. On J-Lo?
That's what I'm saying. You got the girl. Why are you? That's why, like, I don't understand cheating as a concept. I keep on seeing TikToks about how men think, and it just makes me so infuriated. Like,
what are you talking about?
What do you mean? Like, I just, like, they keep, like, women. Okay, so I follow a lot of women that talk about just life and things on TikTok, and then they'll get a lot of rude ass people in their comments, and they'll make videos talking at the comments. I get those too. Yeah. Yeah, and one of them was like, wait till women find out that most men think all women are fat and ugly. And I was like, it's always the people that don't have fucking profile pictures. Yeah. Too, they always have the most to fucking say. Like, all the time. They like, I'm weird. Like, that's all the hate comments I get are from people that don't have profile pictures. And
they're like insecure and like hiding.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, you're
like, say it with your chest.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna say it,
tag your Instagram and the TikTok.
Exactly. So that was unfortunate, I guess, for them. I'm so sorry to J-Lo.
Yeah.
And the freaking industry plant tramp stamps people. I just think that's interesting because I think it's just so blatant that the people that are running anything, like music studios, like movie studios, are just so out of touch with what young people actually enjoy. And that's why I think it's funny. And I also think it's funny that their line is like straight, something about like not wanting to have sex with straight white boys. But then one of them is literally married to probably one of the whitest people I've ever seen in my life. It's very interesting. I don't know.
I think I barely found out about this concept like a couple weeks ago because I saw this TikTok that was like, oh, Phoebe Bridgers might be an industry plant.
But she's actually good.
Yes, that's the thing. I'm like, okay, but if they're good, like, who cares?
Exactly. But these people are not good. And also they're kind of making a joke out of punk and riot girl type of music.
Oh my, yeah.
And it's also like, I saw a TikTok that was like, if it was industry plants, you would understand the problems with riot girl, that it was a very white feminist thing. Oh, and you would want to fix that.
Wait,
but they actually don't care.
Is there like, wait, let me look up if there are other industry plants. Like, I want to know who's been, do you know?
Claro, people think is a industry plant. Billie Eilish, people think is an industry plant.
Billie Eilish, I believe.
But they both make
I love their music,
so like, I don't care. But I think this one is like the most comical
one. These are like rappers. But I've never heard of these people. Have you?
No.
Baby Goth?
No.
No clue who that is.
Yeah, see, I feel like a lot of times because I think the problem is like Billie Eilish, Clairo, whatever the fuck, like they're actually making music they like to make and they like are good at making, but the people in this band don't care about punk music or any of that. Like, literally, I think the lead singer used to make like Lana Del Rey type of music. So like, yeah.
I don't understand that. Also, okay, so I found this thing that it was like favorite industry plant on Reddit. Someone said Adele was probably an industry plant. Lord.
Why would Adele be an industry plant?
They said she got discovered on MySpace and picked up by a record label. How else would she have promoted an album without that help? She originally wanted to be a talent agent.
That's just getting signed.
Yeah,
There's a difference between getting signed and being an industry plant. Because a lot, like,
wait, so what is
Justin Bieber, Shawn Mendes, like,
I think
were plucked from social media.
Yeah.
But we all know that. But I think the industry plant thing is like, oh, they're just like super talented, like underground artist and whatever.
Ooh, Dua Lipa. literally this person wrote, literally the first time I heard of her was from Pop Justice article that was like Lana Del Rey's manager has a new artist. Never saw an official statement of her getting signed. That's interesting. I don't really understand what an industry plant means.
If they make good music, they make good music.
Exactly.
That's
Who
literally,
cares,
I don't
guys?
care. But like the trans fan things is just so comical to me.
I get why it
because
would
of
be
the way that they're handling it.
Yeah, I get that it would be frustrating for indie artists, but I think with things like TikTok now, like there's so many more opportunities for like smaller artists to be found.
100%.
So that's fun. Anyway, what we watched this week. Okay, you start. Did you watch anything fun?
I just watched Sex Education.
Oh, so we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, I don't watch anything but like like YouTube drama videos and TikToks and frenemies. That's it.
Oh, I love frenemies.
Yeah, and The Challenge. I watch that every week with my mom.
I don't even know what that is.
I've talked about it before. It's okay. Daniel does not remember anything I tell him ever. I literally went on a whole
is it the one about the house?
It's one of the reality shows, but I literally talked about The Challenge for like 15 minutes on this podcast.
I only remember the one where it was the real. I remember that one.
The real.
Did you talk about that?
The Real World.
The Real World. What the hell? Was the real
like,
a thing?
You just prove that men do not have like
brain cells.
Yeah.
What I know
like
about
listening ears. Like it's not your fault technically.
I don't claim to have.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's just so because I literally told you I was like Daniel, I've told you this 5 times, and he's like, and I forgot 5 times, and I was like, oh my god.
Be fair, I literally am so stressed right now that like I don't even remember any. I have to write things down because if not, they will not get down.
Oh, my love affirmation. Alarm. I have an alarm to do a love affirmation every day.
So do it right now.
I don't want to.
What does it mean? Like, what do you do?
Well, I don't think it works because I don't have a person in mind.
Wait, so it's like a love spell in your head?
No, I have to say it out loud, but I don't think it works unless you have a person in mind, and I don't like anybody right now. So I think I need to get a new one.
A new person or a new love affirmation?
A new love affirmation that's like just general love. Because I think the one that I'm doing, you have to have a person in mind. But I don't have a crush on anybody right now. So
that's so interesting.
I think I'm just wasting my time with that one.
Okay. Anyway, what did I watch? Actually, now that I think about it, I don't really think I watched much either.
If you're so stressed out, you have so many things to do.
No, just Modern Family so that I can like detox.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the new episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier yesterday, which like what's her name? Julia Louis. Is that her name? Julia Louis Dreyfus? How do you say her name?
That was close enough.
Okay, she's on The Falcon and Winter Soldier. She just appeared last night.
What? And then I heard that the evil Captain America or whatever.
That was crazy. I was not expecting that. So
like,
this show is like surprisingly violent for an MCU show, or like for a Marvel show in general. But basically, like
they saw Bad Boys and they're like, we need to step up our game.
No, literally. So basically, like this guy, he's like, the government still wanted there to be a Captain America because you know how Steve gave this, I guess the sword, the shield to, oh my god, the Falcon, whatever his name is. I literally don't know anything. And so like this guy, he's like kind of unhinged. And so like the last episode, wait, do you care if I spoil it?
No.
Okay, guys, spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Skip ahead after the ad break if you don't want to hear it. So basically, his like partner gets killed by like the bad guys, quote unquote, but they're not really bad guys. And he gets like murdered. Well, I guess they killed someone, so they are bad guys. And so this guy like snaps and he like chases down one of the bad guys that's like a side character, I guess, that like we like. Like they make you like him. And he like literally in the middle of like a town square in front of everyone, like smashes him to death with a shield. It was so scary. I was like, oh my god, like literally like that.
Wyatt Russell does not look very nice without a beard. He looks way better with a beard.
He has a beard in the show, but it's like stubble.
Yeah, but it's like pretty clear. I don't think I've ever seen that man's like face before. He's in Ingrid Goes West. Yeah.
Literally, I didn't know that until like, but I've seen that movie. I love that movie, but I didn't like it. Didn't
register.
Click. Anyway, that's.
I think the only reason I'm like I know who Wyatt Russell is, and I get like. I just know of him is because he's literally Kate Hudson's brother and Goldie Hawn and Russell.
Wait.
Yeah.
In like IRL or like in a movie?
In IRL. Why he's Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's child. And Kate Hudson's Goldie Hawn's daughter. Yeah. You didn't know that?
Wait, they're all related?
Yes.
Shut up.
Yeah, Kate Hudson's mom is Goldie Hawn, and then Wyatt Russell is her half brother. because Goldie Hawn married, or she's with Kurt Russell. They haven't married yet, but she's with Kurt Russell, and Wyatt Russell he's a nepotism job.
Goldie Hawn is the only one that hasn't been in the MCU yet, right?
Oh yeah, well, Kate Hudson was in
I think so.
I don't think Kate Hudson was in.
Wasn't she the bad guy in Thor? Who was that?
That was Kate Blanchett.
The Kates they're all the same. I don't remember.
No, I love Kate Hudson. I don't think she's been in a Marvel anything.
Well, they definitely should put her in a Marvel something.
I'm sure they'll get around to it.
Yeah, they have so many characters at this point, and she'll get something. Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yeah, she has not been in a Marvel movie.
I love how like big celebrities just do like a voice acting job just for like rent money. Like every now and then, it's just like a random.
It's fun
voice
though.
acting movie.
I feel like it's
I
fun
would
for them.
love to do that.
Yeah,
and I can't even act, but I feel like I could do it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Okay. Anyway, so ad read time, and then we'll be back with our guest. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the ad break. We're here with our guest, Zoe. Zoe, hello. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
We're doing great.
Great
For now. Yeah. Oh, congratulations on the Colonize This season finale. They just finished their first season.
Thank you. Yes, we did.
Congratulations.
Our last episode was really cool, I think. I mean, I'm not gonna like promote it, but
you
should
promote it.
Yeah, it was about like how to deal with stereotypes.
Oh, sick.
So I think that like it was a good episode, and obviously like it's not the only way, but I think it was good because my co-hosts discussed like how they are personally affected and stuff like that. It was a good one. So thank you for having me again.
Yeah, of course. We stand Colonize This in this house.
Yeah, and Zoe was on our roundtable episode.
Yeah, so like all our other like Alina and Serena, like we had already had them before, so like now this is Zoe's time to shine.
Yeah.
Individually. So if you want to tell us a little bit, I know we talked about this a little bit during the roundtable, but if you want to talk about why you enjoy film and television and why you think it's important and kind of why you want to go into that industry in any form.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily like want to go into the industry, but I do enjoy like as a consumer being able to see people that like represent myself and people that represent people that are dear to my life. And although that representation can be limited sometimes, I think it's really important for people to see themselves in a visual context, not just like literary context, which I think like all forms of media should aim to represent more groups. And I don't know, I just feel like with film and just like visual media in general, it's really nice because there's not that much of a barrier, because almost everybody like knows how to look at something. Not everyone knows how to read or like interpret literary. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, yeah,
it does make sense.
Thank you.
It's easier to like interpret somebody's body language than some people don't have the needs or like the capacity to read, or because literature, especially academia, is not accessible to everybody.
Hard to interpret, I think.
It is definitely.
Like with movies, you can like the audience can experience very intense emotions without having to be explained, like because everybody has their own interpretation, even though it's like pretty standard and everybody can view it in their own way. So I like that aspect about like it's the same but it's different for everyone.
Yeah, because like also I think with movies, like you can be 2 years old or like 99 and you could still enjoy a movie and take something different from it. Like kids can't always read, but they can watch a movie and they can understand. And you can rewatch things and like take things at different morals from it at different points in your life. Yeah. So fun. Me watching all of the movies I liked as a kid now, and I'm like, oh my god, wow. And then some of them you're like, ooh, that didn't age well. Okay, well, so this episode, I was like, we're going too far away from the point. This episode is about film or sex positivity in TV specifically. I don't know why I had it on top. We thought TV was like the best mode to do this because we think
we talked about this a little bit right before we started recording, but it just allows for more conversation and more character development, especially when it comes to sex, especially in the way it's been perceived. It's always been kind of like a taboo topic, and I think sex positivity is a very kind of new movement, especially because the definition I found is from a book that was published in 2015. So it's not something that we've been talking about for like years. You know what I mean? So the definition I found was sex positivity is a term used to describe individuals and communities who emphasize openness, non-judgmental attitudes, freedom, and liberation about sexuality and sexual expression. And that is from Chris Donahue from Sex Outside the Line. I thought that was, and that was kind of like the general, because I read a bunch of different little definitions. And then I think something I was also looking into is how people can practice it in their day-to-day, because I feel like a lot of people don't really know the definition of sex positivity. Like, I didn't really know what it looked like until literally I looked up this. Like, I had an idea, but I never took the time to define it actually, and what that means in living your life. And like, because I mean, we'll get into it, but like, I've definitely been, like, when we were growing up, there was no really sex positivity that we saw. So it was kind of, it's been nice to like have like social media aspect and have all of these new representations in TV and media in general to be like, okay, you're not alone and like feeling this, and it's okay. Because I think it's really just being exposed to it, and that makes it normalized. Anyways, so some ways that you can practice being sex positive in your life, or just like, so, you know, if it's a safe space or whatever. Being sex positive can look like being open to learning about sex when it comes to themselves and any partners that they have, and an ability to understand all aspects of intimacy, which is something I think a lot of people lack, is that it's not just the physical aspect. There's emotional aspects, there's mental aspects, there's like social cues that have to go in with sex. And I think a lot of people just view it as the act of sex, and I think that's what dehumanizes it, you know? Go ahead.
That too, I agree with what you said. And also, like, safety is so important. And I think it's something, like, a topic that isn't discussed. Obviously, like, sexual health, like physical safety, and also emotional safety. And I think, like, for me, when I was younger, we never had a discussion about like consent and all of these like topics that should be very normalized, and I think should be talked about openly. But it's just like our society has demonized everything to an extent where like people don't even know what's right and what's wrong. And I think it's so surprising that, like, I think I've only been hearing consent, like the word consent, I don't think I've heard it my whole life. Like, I think the first time I heard it was probably like 2015 or something, which I don't know if you guys can relate, but that just seems really not okay. So I think like how our society views sex and like victim blaming and like assault, all of those things like intertwine. And I think like being sex positive is one of the steps that we can take to like prevent shame, and like with preventing shame, that prevents violence. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then some other, like what you said, like there is a lot of shame associated with it, and being sex positive is the opposite of that. So sex doesn't have shame or awkwardness attached to it, which is not like the case how we've been taught growing up. And then acknowledging sometimes your partner will not want to have, or partners won't want to have sex with you, or sometimes you don't want to have sex, and that's totally valid as well. And communicating that, I think, is like a huge thing that we just don't do. And then the last thing is accepting.
Go ahead. I was going to say that the media definitely perpetuates that and like romanticizes assault a lot. And like fetishizes that. Like, I don't know, that's personally for me really uncomfortable, because I like, no matter if you believe it or not, everything that you consume visually, you know, will have an effect on you.
Mm-hmm.
And like same with jokes, like rape jokes are just not okay in my opinion at all, because when you, and same with like racist jokes, any of that, like part of you will always believe it, even if it's like, you know, not of malicious intent. It's still like, you know, just psychologically proven.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And like, I feel like a lot of times with comedy, the way they get around it, or the way they're like, oh, this is why people laugh at it, is because it's rooted in some sort of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, like what you said, race, sex, body image, body weight, I think it just shouldn't be joked about, because it's just like, you, especially because you don't know what a person is going through, so you can't gauge if they're literally capable of taking that joke, I guess. Like, it just would, like, just don't, there's so many other things you can joke about, you know what I mean? There really is so many other things you could joke about. And then the last thing is accepting other sexual practices, as long as everybody is safe, consent, all that, because everyone's like sexual capabilities, wants, needs is different than yours. Like, it's as long as somebody is consenting and is safe and emotionally well, and that, like, that's their decision to do. And that's all from the International Society for Sexual Medicine.
And I also just want to add that, like, I think a lot of this is kind of what we're exposed to in our developing years. So like in high school and even like middle school. And I think the lack of sex education, well, we're gonna get into that, but the lack of sex education in like public schools especially, is really damaging. And I think the way that it's taught, but not only that, but especially for queer and LGBTQ plus people, it's just like not touched upon at all.
No.
And so I think it's dangerous, because one, it leads to some like unhealthy habits, and it also, I think it, like, you're putting their lives at risk by not educating them the same way that you're educating the straight kids, which is also not fair. So I don't know. I think there's a lot.
Well, like, because remember, like, when you had to do it in middle school, you could opt in or opt out of it. And then also it was just like awkward for everybody. Like, you're all put in the same room, and it was just felt very like cold and medical, and that's not, again, like, it's just removing the intimacy aspect of it, which, I mean, like, with all my experiences, like, the intimacy level was literally out the window. Like, anytime, like, I would try to, like, be emotional or try to express myself, which I think it'll lead into the first thing we're going to talk about. But, like, the fact that, I mean, I've only had experiences with men, so I can only speak from my experiences, but all the experiences I've had with men have been, like, I cannot talk about how I'm feeling or communicate any emotional aspect, because it makes them uncomfortable. They literally cannot compute it, and then, or they think like I'm trying to date them or whatever the fuck they think I'm trying to do. And it's like, no, I'm literally allowing you to see me in such a vulnerable position. Like, it means a lot to me, and it would make me feel so appreciated if you would just understand where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? Like, and some people can just are able to close off those emotions. I don't know if that's a healthy way or unhealthy way. That's not my place, but like, I think with my experiences, it's just been like, and I think it's just been like harmful, because I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I'm literally just a vessel. I like that you described it as like medical. Oh, sorry, Zoe raised her hand. Go ahead. Well, let me finish this first, and then you can go ahead. But I like that you described it as like medical. That's literally how it's taught. They show you like pictures of like the like those things that they have in the doctor's office with like the internal organs. The fact that you can't even show a picture of a real vagina is just like, and also like, vaginas look different. Every vagina looks different. That's so harmful.
Also, I feel like, I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like the sex ed programs are also very like racist and colorist, because the only representation I ever saw was white women. And like, I don't know, for some reason, a lot of people don't know that people have brown nipples. You need to teach your kids. You need to teach your kids, because, it's so uncomfortable. But like what you were saying with, like, being vulnerable and the emotional intimacy aspect. I think that's also really important, and that's another like safety factor, because like to have safe sex is to have sex that is like emotionally, I don't know, to have both part or all participating parties emotionally okay. And like for people to feel uncomfortable in any way is like not the goal, and that needs to be addressed. And like that's why I think communication is so important. And I'm sorry that you went through stuff like that. That is very awful, and nobody should have to go through that, but a lot of people do, because it's not taught how to handle like communication with your partner. So I think, I don't know if this, I'm just rambling for no reason, but if you guys
I think
want to jump in.
I think it's like, not to get too off topic, but I think it also has to do a lot with how men and like toxic masculinity, and how the idea of sex is kind of
There's
like,
so many layers.
there really is. We're gonna go soft, like the porn industry.
I was literally about to say. Go ahead.
No.
Finish your thought.
I don't think I had more thoughts, because like you
Okay.
yelled and then I got like distracted.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
But it's so true. Like porn websites, like literally you only see one type of vagina on a porn website. Like it's insane. Like that's why I don't like watching porn in general. It makes me kind of uncomfy. Just personally, like if that's what you want to do, then go right ahead. It just makes me uncomfortable as a woman, because I'm literally like, that is not what my vagina looks like. How am I supposed to relate to the situation, I guess? And it's just like, I think especially like when it comes to men, like that's the only type of the vagina they're seeing, because a lot of men watch porn and that's the only vagina they're seeing. And then when they see anything other than a perfectly shaven, like flat ass vagina, like they're confused or alarmed or grossed out, and that's like not okay.
There's a lot of layers here.
Yeah, there's so much. Oh my god, there's so much.
We could literally talk about. We wouldn't even have to talk about
on the porn industry.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's so much racism, like pedophilia. It's just.
Oh my god.
Sex trafficking, like it's ridiculous.
It's terrible.
So be also, if you consume porn, please be mindful of the porn you're consuming, especially if you go on like Pornhub. A lot of that stuff is people that are not consenting to like so being recorded, having sex. Like try to find a website that is ethical, or OnlyFans. Like you support sex workers, you know what I mean? And those people are consenting. They're literally putting up their own stuff.
And you're paying them directly.
Exactly. And oh my god. Anyways, let's go to Euphoria. Speaking of sex workers.
Oh god. Transition.
Yeah. I mean, this one's not good because she's literally in high school, but I think even though we all love this show, like I've literally play all the fucking clips of me praising this show on this fucking podcast alone, like Euphoria. And I think we've talked about this, I think recently on a podcast, but it's like we're able to distinguish it because we're older, but I feel like these representations are harmful when you're a person in high school, like the ages that they're portraying, and you're not experiencing the things that they are, and like you're romanticizing it. So no, like
I'm sure. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna jump in because, like, as a high school student, I know a lot of my peers glorify a lot of the activity that is portrayed in that show, and I think it's like cinematographically. How do you say that?
No, you said it right.
Okay, like it's so appealing visually. I think it's a beautiful, like, great shot show. But the story is so problematic, and I think people need to understand that it's fiction. And although like this stuff does happen to real people, like we shouldn't be glorifying it. We should be like finding ways and resources to help people that are going through this. And also, almost all the people in that show are adults playing high school students. Like this is not actually high school students doing this stuff. And it shouldn't be because that's illegal. And like just not okay. So like I know a lot of people have been like, oh my god, like I just want to be Rue so bad, like glorifying addiction and glorifying like statutory rape, like oh my gosh, Jules is so beautiful. And although like there is some truth to that in terms of like this being a piece of art, and like it is very beautiful, but you need to understand that the story behind it is not like the intention. I don't think that the intention was to glorify those issues. I think it was to like bring awareness and like I don't know, portray these characters as three-dimensional people who don't just like do this one thing, but also I think a lot of people interpreted it that like in a toxic way.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we only have one season.
Yeah.
And the season that we were supposed to have was pushed back because of COVID and everything. So I think, especially like a lot of these shows, like the first season is literally just dedicated to put you into this world.
Right. And
I mean, every episode was kind of focused on a different person. So you literally only have that to go off of. So I'm sure they are very much aware of the criticism. They have to be. Like, I feel like this is a very social media in touch show. So I hope, like, I mean, even with the little mini episodes that we've gotten, it has like shown a light on like the problems. Rue's addiction was the first one, and like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people didn't watch that though because it wasn't beautifully lit, and you know, it was a real conversation. But I think those are important to have. So I hope they have more of those raw types of moments in the future seasons, because not everybody is going to be watching an hour-long conversation. Literally, it was just a conversation. But like, and then Jules's part was like super important, and like showing her side of this side of the story, because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, Rue is the main character of the show, so you could only identify with Rue. But when it comes to sex on the show, I mean, well, Barbie Ferrer's character, Kat, I mean, it's, I think the way I was viewing it, I was literally, because she is like my age, Barbie Ferrer in real life. So I was just kind of viewing like that. I like kind of forgot they were in high school.
Yeah, me too.
You know, so I was like, yes, like go off, like
I
was like, you claim your body, bitch, you make those people pay. But when I thought about it in the context of, no, this girl was supposed to be 16 years old, I was like grossed out.
So gross.
It's so bad. And I think sometimes when you cast people that are older playing high school parts, it's hard to, you know, understand that
the consequences that you're like,
well, for a 16-year-old doing that versus a 25-year-old.
Yeah, I saw this tweet. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think it sets really unrealistic expectations as well for like how people in high school are supposed to act / look like.
Yeah.
And that is really harmful, especially in terms of like the male gaze and how misogyny is perpetuated through like sexualizing young children. It's like, this is a woman who's 25 playing a 16-year-old. Like, that is a 9-year age difference. You need to understand that a lot happens in 9 years and that this is fiction. Like, 16-year-olds don't look and act like that. And I think for like a straight dynamic, I don't know, I can't really speak on this because I'm not straight. But that's really harmful for young girls to have to like live up to those expectations. And like as people who are starting to mature into their womanhood and femininity, like to have to uphold all of those really unrealistic and harmful expectations is like probably really mentally exhausting. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Daniel.
No, it's okay, because I think well, okay, the thing with Euphoria, I saw this tweet and it was like, there was literally no reason that Euphoria couldn't have been set in college. And then I was like, I completely agree. They could have been going to community college, still could have been living with their parents, like,
which also would normalize community college, which that needs to be normalized.
Yeah, don't even get me into start on that. But I think just having these characters as teenagers,
because that's how I viewed them, because that's our age, so I just viewed them as like,
they don't look like high schoolers, so you're watching it as if they're adults, but they're not adults in the context of the show. And I think a lot of kids, because here's the thing with Zendaya's casting, obviously Zendaya's incredible. She doesn't choose what demographic is attracted to her, but it's a lot of younger people, and so that's not her fault. Like, obviously she should be allowed to do more mature roles, but I think because of the Zendaya casting, a lot of younger people wanted to watch it, and then the hype around TikTok with like the makeup and the lighting, so a lot of people wanted to watch it, but they don't understand
people focus too hard on the aesthetic and they don't question it, even though like I think the show did do a good job when it was running, because they had like these after shows where the character would talk about what was going on, and especially with Nate Jacobs, the guy that plays Nate Jacobs, he did a whole thing in the after show and he addresses that what he does is toxic and not okay, but you know, not everybody's gonna watch that, you know. But
I honestly didn't know that existed. Well, because I watched it after it aired.
I was like super fan, like literally watching it as it was coming out. But also, like, I'm at an age that is beyond this, so it's like it doesn't directly affect how I'm gonna live my life. I mean, it will in a different way than if I was watching this if I was in high school. If I was in high school watching this, oh my gosh, I could not even imagine how much this would make me feel even more insecure.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so glad.
I didn't even think about it like that until right now.
No, if I had this when we were in high school, I don't know. Oh my God, that would have not been healthy for me at all.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
No. But anyways, so I think the other sexual relationship we see is between Nate and Maddie. And it's a very abusive and toxic relationship. But again, like, people are romanticizing it because they're both hot. And I'm just like, he literally put her in a chokehold. Did we all miss that scene? Did we all miss that? And he's a literal psychopath. Yeah. He literally tortured a random guy. And he's just an awful person.
Was he like, okay, I don't know if I completely read this wrong, but was there like subliminal messages that he might be like in the closet and like he...
Oh, no, like, I think there were a lot of...
Okay.
I think there was a lot of that.
Which
and also,
I don't...
like, because he was like fetishizing Jules for being trans.
Yeah. Okay.
So because she fits.
That's how I interpreted, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, she fits. Jules fits the things that he likes about women.
Right.
Because in the very beginning, he lists everything that he likes about women, and it's parallel to like what Maddie does, and
I think
Jules fits that.
And definitely there was like, I got a sense of like a lot of like straight men don't date trans women. They only use them for sex because like they don't want to be called gay or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of those vibes from his character, but I don't know if I interpreted it incorrectly.
No, I feel like that. I mean, why would you carry on this whole ass catfish relationship if there wasn't some validity to it? Because we didn't see everything they talked about, but from what Jules was saying, it was a very intimate relationship. Like, she was saying that she feels so close to him, like you know, so
weird. I'm not a huge fan of the whole like, oh, they were secretly like they were, because I think Sex Education does this too, but where it's like, oh, the jock is like in the closet, so he's evil because of it. Because I know that this does happen in real life, but I'm not a huge fan of it.
It happens too often in TV shows.
Yes.
Like, there's not every gay man that comes out, it was a jock before.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about Euphoria for way too long. But like, I think overall, I just kind of want to be like, what makes it not sex positive? And it's the lack of consent and safety aspect of it. And also they're kids.
Yeah, they are children. Like, they're all under 18. And also, I think Sydney and McKay's relationship was really fucked up as well.
I forgot about that.
It's so stereotypical, and just so damaging, because it's like, oh my God, like, sexually aggressive Black man, like, he can't get a hold of his emotions.
Was there any healthy relationship on this show? No. Right?
No.
I feel like no. I was gonna say Rue and Jules a little bit, but also no, because they were like cheating on each other, and one of them was a drug addict.
But granted, we only have one season. I'm interested and very hopeful that,
fingers crossed,
because of the fan following they had the room to make the conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does suck that the season 2 got pushed so far out.
I feel like it will be better though, because
yes,
it has to.
Because I feel like a lot of the conversations that were had with Rue and her sponsor, what's his name? I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that part. I think that part was good, because it's like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's kind of alluding to like how she's gonna get through her addiction.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see more of that in season 2.
Yeah.
I would love if they just did a time jump. And they're like, oh, suddenly they're in college now. Because like, there's nothing
They're
pressing.
not gonna do that.
No, they're absolutely not going to do that, but I would love if they did. But there's nothing like currently pressing that like they have to answer like immediately, right? I don't remember.
And I feel like, honestly, it doesn't really affect whether, like, I feel like the storyline could be the same if they were in college.
Yeah.
The only reason they're keeping the characters as high school students is so that it appeals to like a wider audience. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm hopeful though, because I trust these actors, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
To like sign on to like a positive ending show.
I agree.
You know, especially Miss Zendaya.
Yeah.
If I have trust in any celebrity, it is Miss Zendaya.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just saw how much we talked about Euphoria. I was like, oh my God. But I think it's important to compare the negative depictions of this versus the positive ones that we're going to talk about.
Which all the rest of them are positive.
So, yes.
These are the honorable mentions. I just put these ones because I don't think I haven't watched. I've only watched the last one I'm going to talk about, but I just wanted to like kind of give a shout out to these ones because they're on the list that I was reading. But Broad City is a good one. I have watched that a little bit, but it is a very sex positive show. It has literal regular ass conversations you would have with your girlfriends about masturbation and then like pegging and communicating. It says, and pegging to Alana, communicating with her sexual partner that she does not want a monogamous relationship, which is huge. I feel like the only relationships we see are monogamous ones, but poly relationships and open relationships are way more common than you would think. And we literally have no representation of that really. And then, but I think the thing that I read that it does it best is like, it's just a very non-judgmental space. It's just like funny, open conversations that you would have and I think that's good because that's literally normalized. But I think an extra fun thing is that they created a line of affordable sex toys that are themed with the show. So it's like kind of like
that is so cool.
Merch. I know, and it's
merch.
Like I know, it's like fun merch. I was like, I need to look into this.
Yeah.
And then the next one is Grace and Frankie. So Grace and Frankie. I have not watched this. I
haven't either. It's been on my list for so long because I know that it's going to be good, but I just I have not had time.
Basically, it follows Grace and Frankie, who become friends after their husbands admit that they're in love with each other. I went on the set. Like, I toured Paramount, I think, and I went on the set, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And they told us, like, this plot, and I was like, wait, that sounds so fun.
It's such a good plot.
But their husbands admit that they're in love with each other. Grace and Frankie eventually develop a line of vibrators that are specifically designed for older women, highlighting a demographic rarely mentioned on television. From an older gay couple finally able to be open about their sexualities to a character working to stay sober. And I think that's really awesome. I feel like, I mean, we're going to get into it more with Jane the Virgin, especially about older people and sexuality. But I mean, I definitely don't think any of us really thought about how important that representation is.
Yeah.
You know?
The CW kind of killed it in this aspect.
No, they really did. Those are my favorite ones that we're going to talk about. But yeah, I'm definitely going to add that to my watch list.
Yeah, I
remember seeing it on Netflix. I remember seeing it on Netflix with like the vibrators. Like it was like Grace and Frankie and the vibrators.
I think that's how they promoted it, like on the little poster.
So fun. The next one is The Bold Type. The Bold Type is a show about 3 women working for their fictional magazine Scarlet, who are also managing their busy careers and relationships, from accompanying Jane to a sex therapist. These are the characters in the show, to supporting Kat when she questions her sexuality. The Bold Type centers on friendship that the women have with one another. The show addresses a wide variety of issues that women face, such as workplace relationships, power dynamics, and orgasm dysfunctions. Super fun. I remember seeing like ads for it, but I've never watched it.
I don't even know what this is on.
It's like Freeform or something.
Okay.
Something like that.
I think it's on Hulu. I just looked it up.
Oh,
yeah.
Fun.
It looks cute. It definitely seems like something that's my speed. Oh my god, fictional magazine writers love that.
That does seem exactly up your speed.
Yeah, I mean, I love that stuff. Anyways, the last one, I have watched this and it's really good. I highly recommend watching this one. It's a comedy anthology series. So every episode is a different couple. and explores diverse Chicago characters, modern romance and technology and culture. Scenarios include a married couple hoping to reignite their second life, to a couple looking to spice things up with another woman, and middle-aged dating. This is such a good way to expose yourself to other people's like sexual experiences in like a kind of comfortable way, I guess.
Okay.
Because I feel like sometimes it is a taboo subject for a lot of people, like sex. So if you're looking for a way to kind of educate yourself without like, I mean, watching porn or like watching something kind of sus, like I feel like this is a good way to do it. And I actually really enjoyed the series. I don't know. I think like a random actor I like is in one of the episodes. So I just kind of watched it and I was like, wait, this is like super fun. And it's especially like people our age, a lot of the people are older. So it's just kind of like, I feel like people our age are very much feel so rushed to complete these things, but seeing older people still going, not through these issues, but going through these obstacles in life.
Yeah, and like discoveries about their sexuality.
Exactly. It never stops. So it makes you feel a little more comfy. It definitely helped me because I think it was like I was going through like a phase of like, I don't know what's going on with my sexuality. And I was just like watching a lot of things and I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. So like people that are older go through this too. No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I think it's also good because it humanizes these characters instead of just like fetishizing their sex lives or their like sexual choices. Because like, if you like watch porn to like quote unquote educate yourself, there's not really that much education going on because porn is like a fantasy. It's not realistic. But I think in this case, it's like it gives people a more humanistic view of like individuals who actually are like exploring their sexuality and like discovering their sexuality and actually like living it instead of just like it being for like a scene or like a phase or whatever. So I think it's good to open up these conversations about like people who actually live their lives in like a non-orthodox way, I guess, when it comes to sex, and it's not just like supposed to be there for you like to be fetishized, like it's real and people actually go through this. So I think it's like a good way to expose people to like these quote unquote taboo topics without being insensitive.
Because the reality of it is like the sex you're gonna have in your life is not gonna be anything like porn, and that's just a fact. Like I remember when I first watched Easy, I was like really embarrassed about a sexual experience I had because I was like, it's nothing like what they say or like nothing like these shows like do it. But then Easy is kind of, it shows like the awkward moments, like you're literally fumbling and bumbling on stuff. It's not going to just be like a good time like constantly. There's like going to be awkward moments and that's literally okay. You're like, that's literally so normal.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have more of those because I feel like a lot of times, especially in like early 2000s movies and stuff, it's just like, oh, this wild, crazy, like sexy, like a fantasy. It's a fantasy. That shit does not happen in real life. Like it can be awkward sometimes and that's okay too. But anyways, and then I added this one just because I don't know, Pen 15, because it's just kind of like I mean, they're playing like middle school and high schoolers and it's just kind of a comedic way to look at puberty, but I think Big Mouth kind of does. I haven't watched enough of Pen 15 to like
have thoughts on it.
I mean, like I finished the whole first season, but like I think Big Mouth for me does it better. So
well,
that's why I moved it.
Yeah, the first show that we're going to talk about, I absolutely love this show. It's Sex Education. It's on Netflix. It came out in 2019. Basically, it follows this kid. His name is Otis Milburn. His mom is a sex therapist.
I did not know that was Gillian Anderson.
I love Gillian Anderson.
I was like, this woman looks so familiar, and why is she so hot?
Gillian Anderson.
She's so gorgeous.
Yeah. But basically, like, his mom is a sex therapist, and so he's been, like, around this his whole life, and so he picks up on that, and he starts his own little sex therapy business at his high school.
So unethical, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not remember doing that.
Hopefully people like know it's not real.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to take it like it's very played off as like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think like his
His advice just ends up working out somehow.
Yeah, even though that's not really what he intended. So I think it is sort of, his advice is more comedic and more of a story device than the actual things that go on. But basically, I like that every episode kind of starts with a different one of the high school couples. And like, you're like, okay, so this is what this one's going to be about. And there's so much diversity in it.
These people actually look like normal people.
Yes. Yes. And I like that the aesthetic is like, well, before we get into the sex stuff, but I like that the aesthetic is like American high school, but it's like British. That's so fun. Because I saw people talking about it. It's like, that's not a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's not
how English schools are like.
Yeah, but they meshed up that kind of like Ferris Bueller. What's that guy's name that made all those movies? Breakfast Club. Oh my God. What's his name?
John Hughes.
I like that they kind of meshed up that aesthetic with a bunch of British people. So fun.
I did not know that. I mean, like, I was like, I don't think this is how UK schools are, but I was like, I've never been to a UK high school, so I would not know. But okay, I'm glad that
it is. It's like a mashup, but I think it's so original that I'm like, fun.
Yeah.
We love that.
Super fun.
And I think what really impressed me about the show is how honest and vulnerable the characters are in terms of their sexuality. This concept is so good. I love the show. And I think it's like, for example, like if we're comparing this and Euphoria, like I think this does such a better job of it because it's showing the awkward parts, it's showing the parts where people are like,
I think it's confused. A lot more like approachable and playful. Whereas Euphoria is like so over the top and dramatic.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily making a joke of anything. Like
it's definitely a comedy, but it's like things that would happen actually.
But I think it's like it's just there's like a level of comfort that is like not as intimidating as like the way Euphoria portrays their characters, because both are set in a high school, but I think sex education is way more realistic.
I mean, even the creator of Euphoria, like they play into the fantasy aspect, like even down to like the makeup and the costuming. That what they were wearing was not necessarily what high schoolers were wearing at the time, and the person who does that stuff has spoken about that. Like, they leaned into that,
and there was like a lot of like fantasy sequences, especially with Rue. But I think. Oh, I love the show. And
it's just an honest show.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
The cast, so good. And yes, I will say there are some issues I have with it, but it's more of just like the characters and storylines. It's not really anything to do with the sex aspect.
I mean, characters are not going to be likable all the time.
So that's like, it's fine.
Yeah. I think my favorite plotline in the show, because I binge watched season 1 yesterday. Yeah. That's all I did.
So it's like fresh on your mind. I don't know if I remember that much.
But my favorite one, like, because you said, like every episode starts with like a different couple, and Amy is one of like kind of like the reoccurring side characters.
Yeah.
But she's hooking up with this guy, and he's not enjoying himself, and she's like confused as to what's going on. I thought he was gonna come out as gay or something, because that's what the normal cop out is, and he was just like, you seem like you're putting on a show. Like, are you actually enjoying what you're doing? And she was like, full spiral. She was like, what? And so she asked Otis like for help, and he was just kind of like, well, do you know what you like? And then she was like, no. And he's like, well, maybe you should like masturbate and figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's literally what she did. And at the end of the episode, she was able to communicate to her partner what she liked, and was a woman dominating the bedroom, which I feel like is not a representation we see all the time.
Yeah. So
I like that.
Such a fun show. And I think it also, I don't know if this is going too off topic a little bit, but I think also the storyline about the abortion, is that in season 1? Did you see that?
No.
Okay.
Did you spoil something for me?
I didn't say who.
Oh my God.
I didn't say anything.
Wait, no, that was season 1. It was Maeve. It was Maeve.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There we go. I also think that was portrayed in a way that wasn't like, because I've just, in some shows I've seen how they talk about abortion. I'm like, oh my, this is not what we should be showing young girls. And I think this one had a lot more honest. Well, like you said, this is an honest show.
Yeah.
I love this show.
I think this is what a lot more people should be watching. I mean, a lot of people do watch this, but I don't feel like it has the same hype as like Euphoria or something. You know?
Interesting.
But it's really good. Also, I love I liked Lily's story too. The girl that's like literally searching to lose her virginity like throughout the entire show. And like the very last episode, I think Otis and her go and try to have like a little clinic meeting or whatever, and then he was just kind of like, so like, why do you want to have sex? Like, why? And she was like, well, I just feel like if I don't, I go to college, like I'm gonna be missing out on so much. And then Otis is kind of like, well, you're not. And I was just like, oh my God, so simple, but so true, bestie. Like, it's such a simple thing that does not get talked about. And like, that's another thing that I think is so important too. I feel like a lot of times in high school shows, everybody's so quick to lose it.
Yeah.
And that, like, if you don't want to lose it, you don't have to lose it. In fact, you're a child for your high school. Like, maybe wait on that decision. Because I feel like a lot of people, at least some of my friends that I've talked to that have they didn't lose anything, that had sex for the first time in high school, regretted it, and they're just kind of like, I wish I waited. I just felt like I needed to rush into the situation. But I mean, if you want to get over with, you can get over with, but make sure like you're doing it for the right reasons and doing it for yourself
and safely.
Safely, and like rather than doing it because you feel like you're missing out on something or you're late to something. Yeah, because that's just not a thing. Like the first time you have any sexual experience is up to you, and you should not feel rushed to make that decision. You go at your own fucking speed.
Period.
Literally. Like, that's the biggest part that bothers me about like these type of shows.
I like that you wrote, why is this so good and cute?
It is good and cute. It's like good, wholesome, like fun, I think. And I love Ola. I'm so excited because I know she's like I love her.
I love her. She's my favorite.
I was not a huge fan of the character at first, but then when they do the second season, I was like, okay.
She gives me bi-wife energy.
I think they did. They do more interesting stuff with her character in the second season.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I could tell that they're gonna do more, so that's why I'm like, I'm ready for fucking Ola, bitch. Yeah.
And it's just a fun dynamic.
Her dad, such a dilf, and his relationship with Jane, so cute. I love it.
I love it.
Oh, also in the second season, they start to show like the mom having some like experiences that she's confused about, even though she's like an adult and literally a sex therapist.
Wait, did the second season come out?
Yeah.
Like a year ago.
Okay, hold on. Never mind.
Are you okay? What just happened?
Also, I really like the portrayal of Eric.
Oh, I love Eric.
So good. And like when he was down bad, you know, he got expelled for punching the guy, and he was walking home from the thing and the car runs up on him, and I could tell he was getting like kind of like flashbacks because he got assaulted and like hit by this random guy, and I could tell it made him uneasy. But when he saw who it was, and it wasn't like presuming, we didn't really get to know this character, but it was a black man who was wearing like fingernail polish, and he was like dressed really loudly. And then that's kind of what clicked to him, like, no, I can be out and be comfortable with my gender expression. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. And then he like went to the school dance, dressed how he wanted to, and he had like that little talk with his dad and stuff. Eric's such a good character.
Eric is one of my favorite characters on anything ever, and I think the relationship he has with his dad was
it's honest as fuck, like really.
It's so good. I think he might be the best character on the show.
I think it's really nice too, because I think it portrays the queer immigrant experience in a way that isn't like, oh, my dad hates me because he's African and I'm gay. Like, it's like people grow up in different cultures, and like, I don't know, like as a first generation immigrant, like I feel that because it's like my mom doesn't want me to experience what she experienced.
Right.
And it's like a lot of our communities are really homophobic and sexist because like our parents try to protect us.
Yeah, and I think it was so relieving. I don't remember. The dad like doesn't have a big reaction to it, right?
No, he was just kind of like scared for him.
Right. Okay.
That was the reaction.
That I was not okay after watching that, because the only other kind of like, it was like a minority person of color coming out was the one from Glee. And like, while that is another like important, huge scene, and I think it does happen a lot where like Santana's grandma is like, absolutely not, like, I don't want anything to do with you. It was also kind of traumatizing. And so I think I would remember watching this and I was like, oh my God, his dad is gonna like flip out. And then they didn't. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I just.
Because it was like throughout the whole season, he was just kind of like tiptoeing around it.
Yeah.
And being like, are you sure you want to go out like that? And then once he actually had to go into like a school situation. Yeah.
So
I
good.
love that.
Love this show.
I think it was good.
All right. So
like, because not everything has to be a big blow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
like,
glad it was.
That's not life. Like sometimes like it is gonna just be like a, are you sure you don't want to go down this road? And it's like, no, I'm living my dream, not yours.
Period. Big Mouth. This show is on also Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, Netflix.
Netflix kind of went off.
Sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, with this aspect. So this show, I've only seen one season of it.
I fucking love this show so fucking much.
Okay, you talk about it.
I love the show. It's just like an adult animation show about puberty. That's the best way I can put it.
That's literally what it is.
That's literally what it is. And I think my favorite thing about the show, I think it's just fucking funny. Like, overall. Like, I think it's just hilarious. But I think in regards to like sex positivity and that, and like going through puberty is fucking awkward enough and like hard, and I feel like you have a lot of questions and you don't feel valid in them. Like, kind of, I feel like when you go through any sort of like sexual thought, you're like, am I crazy, or am I the only one that feels like this? But I really like how they personified puberty and these inner thoughts and the hormone monsters.
I love the hormone monsters.
I love it. I was just like, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like how they personify like mental illness.
Mm-hmm. The depression kitty.
Yeah, like it makes it less intimidating of a topic to discuss.
Yes, I was about to say, like, it feels silly, but like it really does destigmatize it.
Yeah.
Like having this like comedic outlet, but it's not like they're making fun at the expense of other people. It's literally helping you work through your inner thoughts.
Yeah. And
like personifying and destigmatizing these things and being like, oh my God, I have a depression kitty. Like, it makes it less scary and ominous, I feel like.
I also think the fact that it's animated helps it a lot because these characters are in high school.
I don't think if it was live action, it would hit the same at all.
Because
it'd be really fucking weird.
Yeah. But I also think because it's animated, number one, they can have a lot of conversations and scenes that would be really gross if they were like actual kids. And also we know that the voices of the characters are like adults. Mm-hmm. So we know that these conversations are kind of like grown-ups that understand the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think the concept of the show is so good.
Yeah.
It's because I'm not super into like cartoons, but I did watch the first season of this and I was like, okay, I get it. I get it.
It's funny.
It is.
Do you have any other thoughts about this one, Zoe?
No, not really. I think like same thing as sex education. It's like comfortable, but in a way that's not like over dramatic. I mean, okay, a lot of it is really over dramatic, but that's that's the point. And I think like it's a pretty clear message, and it's not. It doesn't seem predatory. I like it. I think it's a good show.
I think it's over dramatic in a comedic way, not in a
like a grotesque dramedy type of way.
Graphic,
like
period.
That's.
I feel like so happy right now for no reason.
Yeah,
I think because we're talking about shows that are like good. Yeah. Anyway,
that's why I wanted to start with like the quote unquote bad.
Yeah, that's so good because it's still not even a bad show. But anyway, Pose. Oh my God. They have a lot of queer representation on Big Mouth too.
Oh yeah, and trans representation.
And the cast is incredible.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to like highlight on it because I was looking at Jason Mantzoukas because I love Jason Mantzoukas, and I was like, oh my God, wait, his character's bi. Like that was the whole. I think that's season 2.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Surprise! Like
it's okay, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah,
but thank you. Pose. Okay, I have so much to say about this show. For some reason I didn't want to watch it like when it first came out. I don't know why. I just was like,
I think it was marketed towards older people.
I think so too. And so I just was like, whatever. And then this was during our Ryan Murphy phase. when I started watching this. And so I was like, okay, let me just check it out. And I was like, oh my God, Ryan Murphy did something. Well, I'll give credit to like the writers who, I don't know who they are, but.
Well, because it's written by actual trans people, right? Is that what you read?
I'm not sure.
I think that's what you sent me.
What?
Did you not read?
Let's fact check that. I don't remember. We discussed this. I don't remember anything. My brain literally like, whoop, one ear out the other.
It relies on okay. I don't know where you pulled this from, but it says it also centers around queer and especially trans characters of color, and not only casts trans actors, but relies on the expertise of trans writers and story consultants, and takes a frank approach to the role of sex work in trans communities of color.
Period. Okay, so
that's what I remembered. So like with the fact that I was like, did I make that up in my head?
No, that's quick.
Okay.
No.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I think okay. So number one, I think these kind of shows are so groundbreaking and important. So like Kim said, it's created by trans people. So obviously trans people are going to know the trans experience. Number two, they cast trans actors, which I think is so important to get
like
into
the fact that that's not a normal thing to cast people who it's actually affecting is just like beyond me.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love the show. And also they're all incredible. They're all incredible. And I do think the Evan Peters thing was a little bit of stunt casting to draw people to the show. Like the Murphy stands, the right Murphy stands.
Yeah, he had to pick one of the whiteies.
And so I think for the storyline that character had, I think it makes sense because that is, like a lot of people said, like it's part of the trans experience, how they're fetishized by white men, straight white men.
And like when it comes to sex work too, that's like usually the people who consume like and prey upon like young trans women of color. So I think it was like a smart casting choice. And
the fact they addressed it in the first season.
Yeah,
I think
like
was
off the
huge.
bat, they were just like, "Here we go, we're starting this."
Yeah.
I also really like. I only have good things to say about this, honestly. It's
really there. I don't think there's many critiques of the show because, oh my God, imagine having people behind it that are actually trans writing a show about trans people.
Yeah, what a concept.
Whoa. And it's not problematic because it's literally these people writing about their fucking experiences.
Yeah, and I think to have it set during the AIDS epidemic, which is a time in like American history that's not really talked about because like
there's shame attached to it.
Yeah, and I think American culture loves to ignore the bad things about it, aka
everything.
Like anything that is like bad that looks bad on the U.S. government, U.S. history, they just ignore. And like the AIDS epidemic was huge. It was like they ignored it for 15 years. Ronald Reagan's like press secretary literally laughed about it.
It was because it was only affecting marginalized people that were not being taken serious in society. So they just felt like it was a big joke.
Yeah. So I think it was a really important backdrop for the show. And it's also like kind of this, I don't know if it's a start, but like where like ballroom culture came from and like what made it like
shows,
popular. I don't know.
Which is so fun.
So fun.
It's so fun.
Also, Billy Porter is so good in this show.
Yeah.
What have you seen? You only seen first season?
Mm-hmm. I've only seen
first season. I won't spoil anything.
Okay, because I do this really, fun thing where I start TV shows and don't finish them.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I don't know, I feel like I genuinely think I need to get tested for ADD and ADHD because
me too.
Like,
I took a test on
really
mine,
bad.
And I don't think it's accurate at all, but it said mine was like high, and I was like, okay.
Because I fixate on things.
I do that too.
And then like I'll get over it and then never finish it. That was me with Pose. Like I finished the whole first season. I don't think season 2 is up on Netflix yet, and so that's why like I try to watch shows that are already finished that are on Netflix because
you can get it over with.
Yeah, because if the second season comes out, I'm probably not gonna watch it, and I want to enjoy all of it as it should be.
Hulu has a section called completed TV shows.
Do they? I love Hulu.
Yeah,
I love Hulu and HBO Max. I love those shows, but I really like because I follow India Moore on Instagram.
Oh, me too. I love her.
She's iconic. I love all of these women, especially because I think they had like a roundtable discussion, or I watched something with I think it was MJ Blanca Rodriguez, and they were talking about their experiences, and I was just like, this is so important. And like the fact that this is the only TV show that kind of has multiple trans people on it
and is centered around them. They're the focus of the show. There's a documentary on Netflix called Disclosure, I think. one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and it shows how like it's like what we talk about all the time in the show, like how representation is important, and it also talks about how other representations are harmful to trans people, which I never realized. Like some of my favorite movies had like super damaging stereotypes that I didn't even know about, and so I think by having trans people talk about it and explain why it's harmful, like they shouldn't have to, but like our society sucks. And so like by a documentaries like this where like people are willing to give their time to explain why this is dangerous to literally their existence, I think it's super helpful. Highly recommend that documentary. It's also on Netflix, so
also I was just gonna say I like how also like Asian representation in the trans community is like talked about in that documentary. And just like overall, I feel like the media doesn't really know that like Asian people can be queer.
I don't think a lot of Asian
so much of it
can.
Yeah, because so much of it is like gender roles and like, you know, when we talked about like the trope of like Asian women being like something a white man can collect, it's like it kind of takes away from like the part of our experience that is like diverse and like people are actually queer and Asian at the same time.
Well, speaking of, I got a transition.
Okay.
Speaking of shows that have characters with intersectionality, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Oh my God.
It's a great show.
I think
it's underrated as fuck.
Oh my
God. It's so deeply underrated.
I watched it like a little bit ago.
Okay, let me tell you.
It's literally his favorite TV show.
Yeah, I don't shame anyone for not knowing that the show exists because it was on the CW. It only had 4 seasons. It kind of went under the radar.
It was on Netflix. I watched like 3 seasons on Netflix.
Yeah, I think the whole show from start to finish, if you're like him and you like having the full experience, from start to finish the show is there, and they have the live concert, which Kim and I went to live. But basically the show follows just really quickly Rebecca Bunch, and she basically it follows her journey with her mental illness and kind of exploring who she is as a person when it isn't in regards to other people.
Because she was like a lawyer before and on like a straight and narrow path, and I feel like she felt like she lost a lot of herself. And I think that also ties into her mental illness and like so this show, the reason we included it on this list is because for me, when I experience something, I deal with things with comedy, and I know a lot of people do that too. And so like when it's time to talk about like serious things or things that scare us, I think it's super easy to just jump to making jokes about it, which is fine because everyone copes differently. But I think what Crazy Ex-Girlfriend does is it still talks about these kind of topics completely like honestly and vulnerable, but it does it in a comedic way, and they have musical numbers, which is just so I'm like, this is so helpful because like it puts it in a way for people who don't want to like just listen to people talk, and like that makes them uncomfortable, but like, okay, listen to them sing about it. It helps explore sex positivity in like a different way. Yes, and I think it also, all the characters are like older. This is set in like, I mean, these characters are like 30s, 40s, like I don't know, is that middle age? What's middle age? Middle age is 50, I would think. So like pre-middle age? What is that? 40 to 50, I would say, is middle aged. Okay, so like before that. They're younger than that. But it's like adult life. There we go. It's literally just adult life, which we don't see a lot. But all these characters are still exploring their sexuality. They're still exploring like sex. There's this one episode where she like goes on a dating site and she has no idea what she's doing. And there's a whole song like about having sex with strangers. Yeah, and it's like a Lady Gaga like ripoff or like Madonna ripoff or something, or like parody. And she's like, it just talks about all the awkwardness that goes into that. While we're talking about, I'm gonna just read what I said. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I put that like I think something unique that the show does is like allowing commentary through songs like period sex, like really awkward things, period sex, admitting it's not the right time to have sex, which is totally valid as well, and a part of sex positivity. Like sex positivity, I feel like sometimes it's just viewed as like, okay, sex is good all the time. That's what you would think. Just like, and it's like, no, like sex positivity is also admitting when you're not ready to have sex. And that is completely valid as well as having sex. And boobs and bisexuality, and the comedic commentary and lyrics just helps normalize it and destigmatize it. My favorite is Let's Generalize About Men, because
That's
like
such a good
I'm
song.
like, oh my god, yeah, this is exactly how I feel about men.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and it pokes fun at like women like always being like, all men this, but it's like
It's cathartic.
it's cathartic,
Yeah.
and it's so funny. Like, and they have like conversations in the middle of the songs. Like,
Yeah.
it's literally, if you love musicals, you're gonna fucking love this show.
I remember when we went to go see the live one, Kim was like, this show, the demographic of the show is like, what did you say? Like horny people who were really into musical theater.
I was like, it's like musical theater people grown up, like horny music. I don't think I said horny.
You definitely said something like that.
I don't remember what I said, to be honest. That was so
It's
long
okay.
ago.
It was like 4 years ago, so it's
But
fine.
I think one of the best characters is Daryl, because he's an actual middle-aged man that comes out as bisexual.
Yeah.
And
He's like, I want to say, I don't know how old this actor is, maybe 50s.
Yeah, middle-aged.
To have this kind of bisexual representation, I literally was not expecting at all. I don't think I've ever seen anything. No, I haven't. I haven't seen anything like this before, because I think a lot of times in the media, the bisexual trope is like, oh, they're young. And, they're young and they're hot and they'll have sex with.
Yeah, it's like a millennial woman with like blue hair who's a barista. Like that's the representation.
Yeah.
And she's white. She's also white. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think
obviously
with Daryl, he's like so like,
he's just normal. He's just a normal ass dude.
yeah, and he's like so clueless sometimes. Like he just wants to be included. And
He's a himbo.
Yeah. And I think he literally comes out in a song, and like everyone in the room does not care. Like they're just like, this is why are you talking about this? You're our boss. And like I think it was just such a funny way of having this character come out, especially because he's like a lot older. He just realized it because he just got out of a divorce.
Well, because like I feel like I feel like his story is very relatable. Like I feel like a lot of men, especially that age, like I don't know what generation it is, Generation X.
I have no clue.
I have literally I think Generation X, I think, or baby boomers, one of those two, probably both.
Yeah.
I feel like especially sex positivity was not really even a thought on anybody's radar. I feel like patriarchal ideologies and gender norms were like very strict back then. Yeah. So especially at this time, I feel like a lot of people, because they're seeing media, like they're seeing things and they're like, wait, like other people think like this.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's really weird, but media really can reaffirm your feelings and make you not feel alone, which is why I think we talked about this, but like I think it's important to have those representations to make people not feel alone.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think
and
you can come out at any age, whenever you're ready.
Yes. I think
also you can come out multiple times. Like there's that social pressure of like, oh my god, once you're gay, you're gay. Yeah. It's like sometimes, but also like don't put that pressure on yourself, you know? I mean, in my opinion, I think like everything is fluid and like growth isn't necessarily linear, you know? So
exactly. That's what I was about to get into. Like I feel like there's a lot of pressure in society to put somebody in a box and make them stay there.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case with any situation. Like your ideas can change literally within 12 hours.
Yeah.
Like it just depends on like where you are and like what you're experiencing. And I think we need to stop doing that. And I feel like that is a part of adopting a sex positive mind, is like not judging. And like that's the biggest thing in sex positivity, is being non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Even if you don't necessarily agree with, not agree, but like want to participate or feel the same way as somebody else, doesn't mean that person is not valid. That doesn't mean that you're not valid. Just accepting them as they are, as long as they're being happy, healthy, and safe. Like, you know, and I think we're kind of moving towards that, and I'm excited to see a shift in like fluidity and like embracing fluidity, because
that's what it is in terms of gender and in terms of sexuality, and
understanding how to interpret your feelings.
And I think that reminded me, like the last season of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend has a non-binary character, and I had never like seen that on TV before, and I was like, they never address it. They're just like, this character is non-binary,
and That's
Like,
what it should be. It should
yeah.
not be their character trait that they're trans or they're gay or they're bisexual. That should not be their fucking character trait. And I'm tired of seeing it.
Yeah, period.
Because that it's just, there are so many more layers to a person than what they identify as. Like, they're literally a human being that just lives life.
Period. The show is incredible. If you are like on the fence about it, go check out some of the music videos. Are all on YouTube, and I think that will definitely.
It definitely is more like millennial humor, but like it's still fun.
Yeah,
I still have a good time watching it. Like, do I cringe sometimes at the
joke?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that makes it even more fun to watch as a Gen Z person.
Yeah, it does.
To be honest, like you're like, oh,
because it kind of feels like your parents making bad jokes.
Yeah.
It's still really fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jane the Virgin.
Okay, I didn't realize how sex positive this show was until I was doing research for this freaking podcast. But obviously it is, because it's even in the name of the show.
Yeah.
It like the whole last first season is challenging this this idea of virginity, which is an idea, like it's a construct that was made up. Literally, and it means something different to everybody else. And I feel like a lot of times, I mean, this is kind of going off track, but like that's why a lot of times like queer people don't know how to define when they have like, how do they mark their first sexual experience? But like, do you even have to mark it is another question. Like it's not, it's as big of a deal as you want it to make, I guess. But the whole the whole season, the catalyst of the show challenges the idea of virginity, and it isn't problematic. It's like, it feels so natural of a conversation. And I think the more I read about the show and more I think about the show, I'm just like, it really fucking did that. And especially that it's a whole Latinx and led show. It just adds to the props it deserves.
We really did not appreciate this era of the CW enough. Jane the Virgin and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. I want to say it was like Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
I remember that was when I was going to Forever 21 at the mall.
Yeah.
I remember seeing vividly the two posters outside of the Forever 21 Plaza Bonita Mall.
Yeah.
I remember that so vividly.
America did not appreciate these shows enough, this era of the CW. And now we have Riverdale.
Yeah. And I think, especially because when a big part of being Latinx, a lot of times there's Catholicism, there's religion intertwined with the culture, and that's a big thing that they talk about in that. And I feel like I'm not Catholic, but I have a lot of Catholic friends, and my friend has told me with sex and stuff, it was really hard for her to kind of accept sex as an idea, as a physical thing, an emotional thing, because there was a sense of Catholic guilt associated with it.
Oh, we could do a whole episode on Catholic guilt.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that was, I mean, I had guilt from Christianity, but I feel like Catholicism was extra strict on it. And I like how the show kind of talks about that. But I think overall, the most interesting plot lines to me is with Alba, which is Jane's grandmother, because it is this older generation that didn't get to express themselves sexually, and especially with her being a very devout Catholic.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole first season, Jane is having flashbacks to her crumpling up a flower and being like, this is what happens when you have sex before marriage.
Yeah.
You're not going to be the same, whatever. And it's so many people deal with that in a day-to-day, but I like Alba's growth as a person over the show, because I mean, even her daughter had Jane before she was married, and that was hard for her to get over, I guess, and accept. And she has to deal with a lot of things. She is a widow, so after her husband died, she did not have sex, and she finally found a guy that she actually liked, and there was a really big storyline about how she wasn't able to have sex with him because she felt Catholic guilt, and she was and she also didn't pleasure herself ever.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a thing of her going to the sex store and actually having an orgasm by herself, which I think is a beautiful, important thing, especially as a woman to understand that feeling, and understanding that you deserve to have that feeling from a partner, and also having sex for the first time since her husband, was a really big deal. And I think that was interesting because it was at the same time as Jane dealing with her being a widow. So they were both going through the same thing, but they both had very different ideas about it, and seeing them talk about it. And I think the show has such great open conversations between 3 generations of people, but they never like, yeah, they fight obviously, but they always reconcile and love each other at the end of the day, which I think is so huge, because I feel a lot in like cultural families, like Latinx, Asian, Black communities, it's like very indefinite. Like when you have an argument, it's like indefinite. You don't talk about it again. Like you have like this animosity towards them. At least like that's a conversation that I've had with my parents. Like I can't even talk to my parents about this shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really beautiful thing to see, especially 3 strong women, like, and like literally they're all by themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And also in the show, Zoe, which is Jane's mom, she has an abortion. And I was reading about this and like how important this was, because I didn't even realize it when I was watching the show, but it's not, the show started off with her having the abortion already done. And I think I didn't realize how big of a deal that was, because I feel like a lot of times like it's like this drawn out conversation, like moral dilemma, like is she or won't she? And like she was so sure she did it, and she didn't have any guilt after. And I you don't see that a lot.
Yeah, I think Crazy Ex-Girlfriend did something similar, where it was like Paula had an abortion off screen, and she was telling Rebecca, because the storyline was kind of more about like how Rebecca is like a bad friend. Yeah. And so she tells Rebecca, she's like, I literally had an abortion and not once did you talk to me about it. But it's never about like, does she feel bad about it? It's about Rebecca wasn't there for her friend and that she had an abortion. Yeah. So the abortion is part of the storyline, but it's not the storyline.
Exactly.
I think. Which I understand that both are important, because like the sex education one, I think also does it well, but I think it's important to have both.
Yeah.
So that,
but I thought it was interesting, like in this one, because Zoe is a lot older when this one happened, and she had to like tell her mom about it. And I mean, they got in a really big argument about it, but at the end of the day, they like kind of like agreed to disagree, and like, but they still loved each other and like still respected each other.
Me with my family.
Yeah. I
literally think a lot of our conversations are just like, well, we're not going to reach a conclusion here, so let's just agree to disagree.
But you can still love them, and it's hard, but that's your family at the end of the day, you know? I think it's cool that they get to have deep conversation. My conversations never get as deep as this family's, but like, you know, maybe we can work up there one day. And I think another storyline I really like is Petra falling in love with JR and accepting her bisexuality. And I was reading an interview with the creator of the show, and she was saying like, they asked her about that, and she was like, yeah, I think it was important because like I think it caught us all by surprise. It caught Petra by surprise. It caught me as a surprise, like as like a writer for the show. And like I think that's a beautiful thing about life, is just like kind of accepting yourself as you move along throughout life, you know. And she was older when she found this person that she loved, and I think that kind of goes back to what we're talking about, like putting each other in boxes. And I think like it's just like, if you feel a certain way about somebody, like
go for it.
Yeah, like explore that like however you want to, and you shouldn't feel shame for doing that.
Zoe, do you have any final thoughts on Jane the Virgin?
No, I haven't seen this show.
Oh, okay. I haven't either, but this kind of like motivated me to watch it.
No, it's a really good show. I want to rewatch it now, like with this lens on it.
I saw that Justin Baldoni's in it, so I might just have to. I'm just kidding.
You should.
I think a better title for this episode would be Sex, Positivity, and Sexuality. Because we talked about sexuality a lot.
Yeah, we can add that.
Yeah, so cool. I think.
Is there any other like representations, Zoe, that you can think of that you really enjoyed?
Like a what's it called?
Anything.
Like a what?
Like any ones we didn't cover that you really like.
I don't know.
Because I feel like there's a lot more. There's a lot more than you would think.
I think there's a lot. Yeah. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think they're like, a lot of the times they catch you by surprise. So like, for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Jane the Virgin, you don't really, when you hear those titles, it's not at all what you're expecting the show to be.
No.
And I think that's how you kind of find, like, sex education, that's clearly what the show's about. Like, it's in the title. Whereas there's a lot of other shows that kind of just do it as like part of whatever the main storyline is. And I think both are really cool and important to watch.
I think everything is important. Like,
period.
Like, yeah, I think everything is important. I think it's just a matter of like being able, like, you can enjoy something but also critique it. Yeah. Euphoria, that's what we did. Like, you can still love a thing and appreciate overall what it does, but still be able to critique the things in it.
Yeah.
Like, and address like the things that are wrong. But that's like with anything, like nothing is gonna be perfect 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of growing and like recognizing the wrongs and the things that you love and accepting it, I guess.
Period.
I guess. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna mention one like movie. It's a movie though, not a show. Is that okay?
That's fine.
I mentioned it on the other episode when we were doing it. It's called The Feels. It's like a comedy, I guess. I think it's like a rom-com, but it's on Netflix. Hey, Netflix. It was produced in 2017, and I'm just gonna read like the little synopsis of what it's about. Andy and Lou are expected to celebrate their upcoming wedding with a joint bachelorette weekend in wine country. On the first night, things get off to a rocky start with one of the bridesmaids admitting she never had an orgasm. So I don't know why they decided to put that as the main idea, but I don't think that's like actually the point of the story. It's just like two lesbians with their lesbian friends like in a cabin having a weekend. And I don't know, I think for me it's really important because it again, like as I mentioned previously, it's like representing Asian queer people, specifically Asian lesbian, and like I've never seen that before. And there's a lot of, for me, like when I was watching it, there were a lot of flaws, because it's played by Constance Wu, and I don't know if you guys seen it, but the person who like has never had an orgasm is her partner, so it kind of like played into that stereotype of like Asian people are sexually inadequate, and I didn't like that part. But other than that, I think it was like a really nice plot, and it was like kind of funny and like homey. I don't know, like,
yeah, I think we like mentioned before like how, well, I don't remember what episode we were talking about this, but it was like every kind of culture and sexuality deserves their like rom-coms.
And yeah, I'm a strong believer in that.
Yeah, like every like they should make every kind of movie genre with all these other kinds of people, because then it just shows that they're part of the human experience, I believe.
And I think for me, like that movie was really impactful because it was like the only time I saw Asian lesbian representation. But at the same time, it's like it just reminded me like of how far we still have to go, because the main character, Lou is her name, the Asian girl, like she like during the vacation the whole time she's just like working, and she's like secretly trying to work, which is like, oh my god, of course they had to like make the Asian woman the workaholic who can't make her girlfriend come. Like I just hated that, but other than that, it's a great show.
Okay.
I think overall conclusion, I am excited to like kind of delve more into this, because like I said at the beginning of this, like I didn't really know much about sex positivity and the movement behind it. Like while there are some negatives to it, I think it's just like as it evolves as a movement and as like a thought, I guess, like it'll just get better and better. So I want to like look more into it and like
oh sorry, go ahead.
No, good. I was just gonna say like I'm excited to like watch more sex positive things and like also like have this viewpoint, because I didn't have this viewpoint of like viewing characters through this light until doing this. So thank you for choosing this topic.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, of course. I think the only like representation of the sex positivity movement I saw was like the slut movement by what's her name, Amber Rose.
Oh, you slut walk. Yeah.
Like I think that's, I don't know, I think it's good, but I feel like
it was in a baby stages. Somebody had to start it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I like how we discuss like the media because that's really important. Honestly, like
yeah. And like this is so random. Another thing like I think like everybody can watch is like on Snapchat, you know how they have those little shows.
Yeah.
Do you watch them? Yeah, Love Don't Judge. I always watch that one because it shows a lot of different types of couples, and these ones are like real life. Some of them are like stupid and like not jokes. It's like jokes, but like some of them are really endearing and like they make me cry. So I think seeing more representation, and I think also like more, I think something we're missing is disabled people in sexuality.
Yeah.
Like absolutely. The one show, I forgot what it's called, but there's a show on Netflix that it's called Special. I love that show.
That show's so good.
It's so good, and the main character has cerebral palsy, and I want to see more shows centered around neurodivergent and disabled people, or not. Is that disabled the right word? No, it's not the right word. I can't think of the word right now.
Yeah, it's
neurodivergent and
differently abled. I don't know. Hold on, let me look it up. Pause.
Yeah.
Before we say
I think it is. I feel like I think I've heard like people describe themselves as that. I don't know.
Oh wait.
I know neurodivergent is the right one for like.
Oh, person with a disability?
Person with a disability. We'll look into it. I'm so sorry if I misspoke, and I will educate myself after this. But people that are in wheelchairs, I guess.
Oh, wait, no, hold on. Term no longer in use.
Handicapped.
Okay, it says terms now used. Person with a disability. Like instead of wheelchair bound, you say person who uses a wheelchair.
Okay.
So it's just like describing them as a person with something.
Oh, okay. So, okay, I'll try again.
From what I've seen.
Okay.
Right now.
So persons with a wheelchair and neurodivergent people and people with different types of capabilities. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's somewhere where we need to move, because I think we are heading in the right direction. I mean, we still have a very long road to go about LGBTQ+, but I think we also need to be actually truly diverse.
Yeah.
You know, but we're creeping up on it.
Honestly, what a fun episode. This is such a fun subject.
This helped me so much, because I feel like a big part of like my life, like a big hurdle for me was sexuality. So I think this helped me.
I think it's kind of like
same girly.
I think it's kind of like for everyone, like this isn't talked about, and so like everyone just kind of suffers in silence.
Yeah, let's be sex positive, guys. I feel like this is a great thing we need to start doing.
Yeah,
I think it'll help. Honestly, if people adopt these things, and I think just overall, the first thing you can do is be open-minded and try to not forefront. Like, just try to reserve your judgments, because it's very easy, especially with like social media is such a double-edged sword, but like you really can be free to have like an opinion, but also like sometimes I think it's good to take a step back and like internalize it and think about it.
Let it process.
Yeah, let's have like a processing. Like you could like tweet something and it'll hold for like 10 minutes or something. Oh my God, Twitter?
That'd be
so good.
Like, let's think about this, and it has a timer.
Yeah.
You're thinking about it. You're like, well, maybe I shouldn't. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for listening. Zoe, do you want to plug the podcast and then any other social media people can find you on?
Oh, sure. Thank you. I'm on a podcast called Colonize This, and our Instagram is at Colonize This Pod. So is our Twitter. We have like 16 followers on that, so I'm really excited to see where that goes. And I have an Instagram. It's ia.zoi.a. So
Period.
thank you.
Yeah, so definitely go check out that podcast. The first season is completely available.
Yeah.
Just stream.
And our second season too. Actually, just
Oh really?
yeah, we're
Oh, you guys said off the
our
bat.
second season. Yep.
Us needing a break.
We're close. We have like 2 or 3 more episodes left.
Yeah.
Before our break.
So fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you so much, Zoe.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
we'll see you next week.